We'll wait like 2 more minutes and then we'll start.
Julia, are you cooking too? Are you baking?
I'm gonna try.
Yes.
I got a question on the dish. I don't have something that's bigger, like an angel food cake. I don't have something that's bigger.
So
will this work? Will this work if I put it in here?
Yes. So for an example, I have this one that I use that I just love using and it's super old. And this one is a cake pan that barely makes it. Can you see how it's just barely bigger? But it's just enough for you to put an inch of water so it can gently boil and simmer that mixture for an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have a strange pot connection. So.
So yeah, I mean, it should just be big enough to just give that, so it's not, the bottom is not on the oven itself. It just has this layer of protection with the water just kind of gently simmering. It's what they call banho-maria. In Portuguese, it's banho-maria. And
you think this will work?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay.
That'd be great. I see more questions. JP, I think you look like you had something in your hand there as far as a pan. Sure. Okay.
All right, hi, I'm JP. The whole point is you need something inside of something else, right? So I can have a little flotilla if I needed to, because I don't have the exact right things. Because I have something nice and big and round, but this is the biggest thing. There's nothing bigger. I can't set this in something. So yeah, okay, we'll figure it out. It'll depend how much comes out, how much liquid I have to actually cook. We'll figure it out.
So you're gonna get, JP, you're getting about maybe a little over a liter.
Okay, liter.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Which in ounces, I guess, looking at my thingy here.
Oh, I know what a liter is.
Yeah. And I have to say, there's a complete, like, how do you say, we're very flexible in relation to what you use, because I tried different things for the first time. So this class helped me to have the courage of just, yes, exactly.
My wife found these yesterday, and this is going to be what we're going to pour them into, I think, at the end. So they're like little individuals, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Totally set. Boy.
Cool. I think it's like 5 after, so we can like officially start. Yeah, I think so. But thank you all for coming. I see some repeat names. Thank you for coming back to another Dickinson College Farm cooking class. Today we have Nidia Werner from the library, who is going to lead us in a class on how to make flan and a Korean cucumber salad. So very excited to hear about that and how to make these dishes. So with that, I pass it over to you.
Great. I'm super excited to share these recipes. And then let me tell you, how is it that this came about and why I chose these two. One is because the flan is one of my favorite desserts to make and take to the library. And all my colleagues love to eat it. And nobody in my household enjoys eating it. It's a very funny thing. So I wanted to also destigmatize this difficult thing about the flan. People think that it's, oh my gosh, it's so hard. And it's totally not hard. You will see it demystifying, help me out with that word, demystifying. Yeah. This big, thing about how to make it. You are going to be a hero. Every time you have a gathering that you want to impress people, you can, just by making this really easy recipe. And the second one, the cucumber one, I am Brazilian, and part of my family, my husband is married to my sister-in-law is Korean, and we love Korean food. And we thought it would be a really good recipe because the flan is so sweet and we just needed something savory, delicious to share. And that's why those two recipes will be shared today. So I think that the first thing we should do, it would be to turn our ovens on at 350. So I'm going to do that too. I'm going to turn my oven on to 350 so it's preheating while we do the next few steps. The second thing that we're going to be doing, and I'm going to first make sure everybody has the ingredients. So we have sugar, right? Condensed milk cans, and eggs, 2 eggs, some vanilla, if you like vanilla. It's not necessary if you don't like it. And then some milk. I like to use whole milk, but 2% will work. A little fat is needed, I think, just for the consistency and the flavor.
Watching my cooking class, and the food is in the.
And so what we're going to do now is first get the sugar. So I got 100 grams of sugar. I also got some, measuring cups just to see how much that would be. And it looks like this is half a cup of sugar. So I am going to change the camera here for a second. So what I like you to do is put that sugar on a frying pan, a small frying pan. You don't turn it on yet, but just put the half cup of sugar on the frying pan for now. Because the sugar will only be used to make a nice caramel to give color to your flan. Okay, I'm gonna
that's the whole 100 grams of sugar, all the sugar.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All of it. And I'm going to show you why is it that we're going to cook the sugar. It's basically to give that nice caramel color on top of the flan. There is very little sugar that will be absorbed by this flan, but this beautiful caramel color comes from the sugar that we're going to melt, and it's going to be beautiful. So the next thing we're going to do is, and let me change this quickly here. I would like you to get either the butter or the cooking spray, whatever you decide you want to use. And for the pan that you will be cooking the flan on, whatever you decide, you will need to use that cooking spray to richly, I forget the word in English, but like really grease. I think there's something more appetizing than grease, so I apologize if that is a bad word for cooking experience together. But you definitely want to spray generously on the sides as well as on the bottom, because that's going to be key for you when you turn it over after it cools, so it can come out of the pan without too much struggle. You can also use some butter if you like. I have done it with butter and it works perfectly. So if you prefer to do butter, margarine is fine too. Again, very little will be absorbed by the flan itself. It's mainly just for cosmetics, because even if it falls apart or if you have to eat it out of the pan, it's still going to taste the same. But people like to look at something pretty when they eat, particularly a dessert, right? How many times have you been completely disappointed because that dessert looked amazing and you spent $7 on it and then it just didn't taste that great? This is sort of the opposite. It tastes amazing and it's silky and delicious. And so if it doesn't look perfect at the end, it's okay. You're going to enjoy it the very same way. So you want to spray, and then you're going to put it aside once you sprayed it. And all we did is that we're spraying. So once we get the caramel done, we can immediately pour it and we don't stop for additional steps. So number one, preheat your oven. Number two, spray the pan you'll be using to bake the flan. And then number three, let's get that sugar now going in the stove. So I am going to turn my stove on. And you can see I'm going to start with high, but simply because I want the pan to heat up quickly. But once the pan is hot and the sugar starts to melt, I'm going to actually lift it off of the burner to have more control over the sugar melting. Does that make sense? All right. JP gave me a thumbs up. I haven't heard anybody else say please stop. And if it's too quick, let me know and I can slow down or repeat those 3 steps. Because right now we are only doing those 3 things: preheating the oven, greasing the pan, and melting the sugar. So you can see high, and then you can let it sit there for a little bit until that sugar starts. I'm going to turn a little light on. Maybe it will be better. I don't know. So I will be talking just to annoy you. No, I will be talking during the process just so you can have some comfort. My comforting voice will change, it will be softer. Let me tell you that this dessert is vastly used in the world. It is amazing. So many cultures have this dessert as part of their repertoire. It's really incredible. Of course, the Latino population, I mean, Brazilians were colonized by Portuguese, so the Portuguese too. And of course, Portuguese traveled the world. So then you have people in India, Pakistan, in Asia, in Africa. There are a lot of the continents, you know, I don't know anything about Australia and New Zealand, to be honest with you, or South Pacific. But although Filipinos were also influenced by Portuguese. So this is a vastly used recipe. So you're connecting to the world today. If you have had a piece of this, and you can see, I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to talk more. Can you see, if you have your camera, you can see that now the sugar's melting. So I'm going to lower, look, I'm going to lower to maybe mid-high, and I'm going to hold the pan myself off of the burner so that heat can evenly be distributed, and I can just control that melting process myself instead of letting the stove burn everything. And again, this is only for the cosmetics of the process. So don't feel that you have to perfect a caramel. I have no idea what the temperature is. And sometimes I watch cooking shows and I see them making this beautiful caramel with cream, and I have no idea how to make any of that. But I do know to burn sugar. I have burned a lot of sugar in my life, and I can share that skill set with you today. So you can see that there's some sugar that sort of like stay there in the middle and it's being stubborn. So I'm okay with just like sort of like using a spoon to just kind of like distribute it a little more evenly. And again, if it's not perfect, this is a great forgiving recipe. I love it. So you can see it's actually getting a very rich dark, and this little sugar that's on the top is sort of stubborn and staying white. It's okay. It's okay. If most of your sugar melted and everything looks nice and this really rich brown, it's okay. You're ready. JP, how's your sugar? Not yet? Okay.
It's totally white. It hasn't started melting at all.
No
I'm very
problem.
disappointed in my sugar.
No, that's okay. I mean, be patient with your sugar.
I mean, I'm watching it. Maybe I shouldn't watch it and it'll start melting.
Yeah, I mean,
But I can't stop. I have to look, you know, I can't stop.
What I'm gonna do, and then we're gonna pause. I'm going to pour my sugar in here on the well-greased pan.
Holy
Simply
shit.
because once you have it melted, you don't want it to harden on the pan, because then it will be really hard to get it off. You actually do want to pour it once that melted. Pour it in the pan that you'll be baking your flan on, and that's what we have right here. Julia, how is your sugar going? Awesome. Great. So I am going to put my face in front of you so you don't feel alone. It's okay. The sugar is coming along. And let me tell you that the sugar part is the part. Is it good, JP? JP is giving us thumbs up. The sugar is now melting. Yes, I can see it. And now keep watch though, JP. Be right there. Once it starts like melting, it's all about your control, because that sugar can go from caramel to burnt really quickly. And I swear to you that this is the hardest you're gonna work. The rest is gonna be a breeze. It's going to be very easy from now on, once that sugar is done. And while you're working on your sugar, I don't know how many of you are actually going along. Dana, are you going along? Hannah?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm just watching for fun.
No, that's wonderful. Okay. Dana, your sugar is behaving appropriately?
Yes, I have to. Yes, it's melting.
Great, great. And Hannah, so for your entertainment, since you're watching it, I'm going to attempt. So I made a tiny little one for the first time yesterday. I actually made two. I ate one last night. And so what I'm going to attempt now is to just see if we'll come out. And one of the things that I need to tell you, in order to come out, sometimes you really need to go with a knife around it, even though you may have greased it properly. And because the sugar sometimes hardens, not sometimes, it hardens, and you're going to see a lot of it on the bottom, hard, and it's okay. You may need to heat it up a little bit by putting in hot water. But Hannah, for your entertainment, let's see if this comes out.
That was really cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. Let's see.
Wow, look at me. I think I did it.
This is not coming out, Hannah. I'm going to have to put in hot water. So I'm going to put in very hot water and then hope that will come out beautifully.
So cool. Mute.
Okay. Dozia, are you also cooking, or are you just watching?
I'm not cooking along this time now.
Okay. So the good news is that we're going to have Maddie. Well, Maddie is recording right now. You see how hard she's working. She's going like this, like in 1920s, you know. And then you can make it yourself. And Rita, how about you? Susan?
Hi.
Are you baking along, or are you watching?
JP's, I'm JP's sister-in-law, and I am making along.
Okay.
Hey, Susan, wherever you are.
I want to make sure I don't leave anybody behind. You know, I want to make sure people are following along and they feel comfortable. That's all.
Yeah.
And how about you, Rita? Are you cooking along? I love that last name, Colavincenzo. Ma che bel name. And Amy, are you cooking along?
I'm just watching. I'm making my cucumber later.
Oh, great, great. The cucumber stuff is ready too.
Okay.
And Erica, are you cooking?
No, I'm just watching.
Okay, and Melissa?
Hello, I literally just logged in late because I am a librarian and I got stuck with a reference question, so I just logged in.
Oh, you are just a lovely librarian. Well, welcome. Yeah. And so I'm going to tell you the first 3 steps and then I'm going to move along. The first one, preheat the oven at 350. Get your pan, whatever you're going to use. If you're going to make like a, what is this called again? I forgot.
Ramekin.
Like a ramekin.
Yeah. So if you're going to do a ramekin, or if you're doing, you know, something metal with like an angel food cake, you need to grease it first. So you can grease it either with butter or margarine, or you can use a cooking spray, whatever is best for you, whatever your choice is. And lastly, the third step is to, and I'm going to show you really quick the status of the caramel. It is what I poured right there, and it's just basically you're going to burn sugar, but not burn to a crisp that is going to be bitter and horrible, but just burn so you have a nice caramel color, and it's just something that you're going to need to control a little bit once that pan heats, so it's a nice color. Because what you're going to aim for is this. The color of that caramel is going to transfer to the top of the flan once you turn it over. That's all that is, really. It's all aesthetic, but it looks great when it looks like that. Okay, so now we're going to go to the fourth part. Okay, I'm going to turn the light on so we can see a little bit better. And what are we going to do? You're going to get your blender. Just get your blender. And you're going to put the 2 eggs in the blender. So I'm going to crack my beautiful farm egg. Look at that yolk. Those chickens are so happy. I can tell. And that second beautiful egg. And so I'm putting both eggs right in the blender. So that's the first thing. Then you're going to get the condensed milk. Really, the order of things really don't matter, to be honest. But I like to put the eggs on the bottom because they're the most like liquidy. So then it helps the blender to emulsify everything together more easily. So you're now going to put the condensed milk and scrape that nice thick residue from the walls. And so 2 cans of condensed milk, right? We have. And I have to say to you that this recipe came from a Dickinson professor that one time I made this huge meal and I invited everybody on campus. And then this professor said to me, he was Brazilian, he said, I made a flan. And I said, I made a flan too. And he said, well, but my flan is really good. And I told him, well, my flan is good too. And then I ate his flan and I was like, what did you put there? I cannot believe how silky and delicious this is, because there are various ways to making the same recipe, right? And I have to confess that at first I was a little offended. My pride was hurt, but I got over it. And since then, it's been maybe 4 years, I've only made this one. So the 2 cans of condensed milk. So what you're going to get now is get that one of the empty cans, and you're going to fill one of them with the milk, 2% whole milk, whatever you decided. And you're going to pour those 14 ounces into the blender. And I spilled some. Hopefully the camera didn't pick that up. Oh, just wiped it. And lastly, last ingredient, you're going to put the vanilla in there if you chose to use vanilla. I am really fond of vanilla. So, but you know, some people like to use instead of milk, coconut milk. That's a choice that you can put if you like coconut. If you rather have something fruity instead of vanilla, you can put some essence that is appeasing to you. So this is very forgiving, and it can give you an opportunity to experiment. But today, so far, based on that recipe, it's a vanilla one. So I hope you enjoy it. So I'm now going to put my blender on top of its motor, and I'm going to make noise. And for the noise part, it's going to take maybe, I don't know, 90 seconds, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes for it to blend. All you want is a homogeneous mixture. So I'm going to mute myself, and you're going to have some peace and quiet. And I'm going to turn my blender on. Now, I can tell the chickens were happy because the beautiful yolk, I can see strands of the yolk. This is a rich, beautiful yolk that only a happy chicken can produce. And I am going to just kind of, because the yolk is a thickener, you know, it just thickens the mixture. I want to use that beautiful yolk. So if you have something on the side there that is stuck and your chickens were as happy as the farms, then you might just want to scrape some of it into the mixture, just because, I don't know, but I am really partial to the yolk. I think the yolk is a really nice part to eat. But but this is it. Other than that, I mean, you now hopefully, and let me just change the here. You now should have something liquidy and almost smoothie-like, right? All right, perfect. So what we're gonna do is pour that beautiful thick mixture into the pan that you put the caramel in, right? So you made the sugar, you put it in there, and now we're going to pour it. And your sugar is gonna crack. And that's all there is to it. So that portion is completely ready. And now you're gonna simply work on, so you guys can see it. You're pouring yours? I can see JP working on his. Susan too. We're looking good. This is great. and Julia.
Question, is there any worry about like rising of anything with the heat process, or how high do we need to fill it?
I mean, I would say it's always nice to leave a little bit, but the next step is going to be use foil to simply kind of seal, particularly the heat and the moisture. I have to say yesterday when I did this little one, and I didn't forget about you. I have this in the heat here. I'm gonna try to see if this one comes out now. But yesterday when I was doing the little ones, some overflow, it was overflowing a little bit. But
Okay.
the water bath will catch that, and it's all good because it's not gonna go all over your oven, and then you feel like you're gonna have to call the what is the called the, oh, Hannah, look, it parted in two. I'm gonna show. It parted in two. I'm gonna fix with my finger. You can see that, not all gets perfect. You can see it here. So this is a baby one that spilled a little bit over, JP. Your concern is real, but the water bath.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, but that's the baby one. Okay. So now, if we can proceed, we're going to use foil. So you're going to get enough foil out that will, cover the entire pan where you put that mixture in. So I'm just going to make sure that it covers.
Have you put the water in the bath yet?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to do that last, but that's a good point. So you're going to get a piece of foil. And what I usually do is I fold the foil in half and simply give a little snip with scissors right there. And then I open it up and I fold it again to give another snip. So you have a little cross pattern in the middle there, like a crisscross. And it's mainly like if you are using an angel food cake pan. If you're not using an angel food cake pan and you don't have a hole in the middle, then you can just get the foil out and you don't need to cut any pieces in the middle. I'm only doing this, and I'm going to change the camera so you can see more properly why. You good there? I can't hear you, JP. So I can see like this is because I have a hole in the middle. That's why. Because what the foil is going to do is going to trap that moisture inside and evenly cook the entire thing. So it's almost like putting a lid on a pan. Actually, in Brazil, they have these flan pans that come with a lid. I just never really could afford one, to be honest. But I believe the foil does the job. And what I like to do too is just cut the ends to the shape of my pan. You need just enough to cover it, but you don't want a lot of foil to be in touch with the water and then, bringing the water up. So you wanted something that is the size of your pan, just enough to cover and seal the moisture. Does that make sense? We're good? So I'm gonna do that. Just because of the shape of my pan, I'm gonna cut and trim the ends a little bit. And then I'm going to seal that. And the shiny side should face down because the shiny side is, it's like when you make your baked potatoes, right? You want the shiny side in touch with your potatoes if you bake them with foil. So I am just going to carefully turn and just put that foil, crumpled it up right against the edge. And then this guy here, I'm gonna do the same. I'm going to just crumple it up and just kind of cover just enough to kind of seal that, the sides. Are we good? Everybody's good? So I'm gonna put the pan that's slightly bigger underneath now. And JP, as you mentioned, we're gonna need hot water. So in my case, I'm gonna pour it in the middle. I had already the kettle going. So I'm pouring it in the middle, at least some. I don't have to fill it up. And then I'm going to actually open my oven, and you won't see that part, I apologize. But I'm sure you will be careful to just put that because of the hot water. And then we're going to bake that for an hour and 15 minutes at 350. So let's change this here. Questions, comments, points?
Well, because I don't have the same kind of configuration, I'm just gonna add the hot water to the, like, the inner bowl here. Oh my God. Here, how about if I just, right? So I got something like this set up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna
yeah.
add water to the outer pan, and then I'm gonna cover it all up.
Beautiful.
And that's good for you? Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
but I have to make my water hot first because I didn't know that I needed hot water.
Oh yeah, well you can use cold water too. I just
Oh.
use hot water because it's easy and I have the kettle going, you know.
Oh, okay, thanks.
You can
Okay.
put any temperature water and the heat from the oven will take care of it, particularly JP, because you have smaller ones and it will cook much faster than an hour and 15 minutes. And yesterday also I made a ramekin thing, just, you know, anticipating that people will have different sizes just to kind of check to see how it will work out, right? So
how will I know when they're done?
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It will be nice and I mean, I don't know, the camera doesn't really give justice and I don't want to pour this over the computer. But
It's just right there.
Let me do this. I'm going to get a spoon and it is
Caramel.
You see this right here?
Yep.
It's almost like a cake consistency, but it's silky. So if you put your little finger there and, you know, when you feel like it's not liquidy, or if you get maybe a knife and you just put it in the middle and you see that's not coming out liquidy, then it's ready. So I'm going to say to you, because of the size of your guys, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a little side. Oh my God. Okay, it's so good. All right. So I'm going to say maybe 40 minutes, 45, half of that, you check. And then if you have different sizes, if you have different sizes, then just check to make sure it's not liquidy. But once you turn the oven off, you want to let it sit there until it cools, because it will continually cook and cool, and it will be this is a trick because I learned by doing it. It will be much easier when you actually turn it upside down when it comes out. It will be, I don't know what it does, but I think the heat and the sugar just love each other. And then they just kind of like, I know do this thing where like, okay, I will come out smooth after this. So I really don't know. There is a class at Dickinson, it's chemistry in the kitchen. Maybe I should take that one. And maybe I'll learn something about sugar and heat. But that's primarily it. Once you put it in the oven, if you have a big pan like I did, an hour and 15 minutes. If you have smaller pans, shoot for 45 minutes and then check it to see if it's liquidy or not. It should not be liquidy. So as long as you see some running, let it bake, let it do its thing. And once you don't see that liquidy thing anymore, kind of like cake batter when you put it in the middle, right? Then once you decide that it's cooked enough and baked, Just turn it off and let it cool in the oven. And it's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. I'm on the.
Are we good? Questions, comments? I'm gonna clear this part up so we can do the cucumbers. And I was saying in the beginning that the reason why I thought about this cucumber dish is because I have family that's Korean, and I love eating Korean food. It's so delicious. And their banchans, which is the, oops, I put everything here on the recycle, it's not good. So their banchans, which is these little dishes that they eat with their main meal, are usually so good, so delicious. And this one particularly, I love to eat. So we have this little inside joke in the family. Cucumbers in Korean, the word is oi. And oi in Portuguese means hi. So when we see each other say cucumber, cucumber, we say it in English, you know, just for fun, because we're, I don't know, because we don't have a sense of humor. So anyway, is everybody ready for the cucumber? Should you guys have a few more minutes? Oh, it's 5:44, and I think we only have 15 minutes. So is it okay if we start the cucumber? That is also pretty quick and smooth and delicious. Now, I'm gonna bring the ingredients here and put it here. Let me just change the camera really quick. All right. So within the cucumbers, I'm gonna say two things. So some people really like the English cucumbers, the long one, and it has less seeds. And some people like the cucumbers that we all have in the summer growing in our yards, and they're delicious too. I don't know if there's a specific name for it. Maddie, is it? No?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, I don't either. So it's all good. So, but these cucumbers are perfect. And either whatever your taste is or whatever you purchase would work beautifully. The other thing that is live and colorful is this beautiful green onion that came from the farm. Thank you, Maddie. They're delicious. They smell wonderful. And the last thing that you're gonna have that you're gonna need that is coming from, in my case, the farm, is garlic. So those are the three main things that you need that may need a little additional preparation. So I personally, my personal taste is to use some of the Asian products. So like, I'll show you, like I'm using this rice vinegar. It's delicious and I like it a lot. We're using sesame oil. We're using sugar. And we're using this. This is something Koreans use a lot in a lot of their dishes. So this is the red chili powder. It's really hot. The recipe calls for 1 teaspoon, but I honestly just use half. And I like heat, but I'm just telling you that I use half. If you don't have something Asian, I mean, I would use cayenne pepper or something that you have, and it's okay because it will just give you that vibrant, you know, spice. And you're gonna use some sesame seeds, again, for texture and flavor, and obviously salt. I have a thing for salt. I have lots of different salts. You can use whatever salt you want. So let's just go on to what you would do. I cut them already, but just cut a thin slice you know, of cucumbers and do as many as you can. The entire cucumber would be ideal. I use a mandolin for these, but I have hurt myself many times with a mandolin, so I still prefer to cut it. You can see that this is how much a mandolin is going to be away from my finger because I'm really scared of them. But if you want to just cut, the cucumber, I usually do not take the skin off. The skin really gives a nice crunch and it's delicious, in my opinion. But I know some people really don't like the skin or may have an intolerance to the digestive, in their digestive system. So feel free to, if you'd like, to take some of the skin off. You can definitely peel some off or peel the entire thing off if you don't agree with them, because it's a normal thing. So once you actually cut the entire cucumber and the cucumber is ready, what you're going to do is that you're going to pour the salt into the cucumber, and you're going to let it sit there for a while. It says 15 minutes. You don't need that much time. And the reason why it says that it should sit there for a little while like this is mainly because that water is going to come out of the cucumber. So you can just pour some of that water out. But the truth is that this dressing that you're going to make is kind of pasty. So within that paste, the little water is not going to hurt it either. Like I said to you, like these two recipes are so forgiving and they're both delicious, but there's no stress. I promise there's no stress. If there's a little more water, a little less this, it's okay because it's going to taste really good. So you're going to pour the salt on the cukes and let the cukes sit there for a little bit while you're making the rest. So I like to get something big where I'm going to actually put on the table. So I'm going to make my dressing right here on this, what is it called? Container, whatever. Because then once the dressing is ready, I'm going to pour the cucumbers in here and mix it. And the reason I say that is because all that deliciousness of the sesame oil, the paste, everything is going to be on a lot of the sides when you mix it. So you will be wasting it if you transfer this into something else. Okay? All right. So are we ready to start? You guys good? Okay. So, oops.
Nidia, one little comment. It would be very helpful since I've got you on my iPad. I don't have all the extra ingredients doled out. So if you could just tell us again, like how much quantity, teaspoon of this or quarter teaspoon of that, it would be helpful so I don't have to go back and forth to the recipe.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Of course. So it was 1 teaspoon of salt in the cukes, right? Then we're going to have 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar. So I'm going to go with everything that's 1 teaspoon first. So 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar, you can pour it in that container that you're going to be serving your delicious salad. Okay. Then we're going to go to 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. And let me just change this so it's a little bit better. So 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Okay. And then we're going to put 1 teaspoon of sesame seeds. So far we only have the ones. And you're going to pour it in there. And we also have, in the recipe, again, there's 1 teaspoon of the red chili powder. I just put half, so it will be up to you. I'm putting half. So half Korean red chili powder or whatever pepper of your preference if you don't have that. And it will be a half teaspoon of sugar. So right now we're on the halves. And lastly here, we have a half teaspoon of garlic. And again, to taste, right? I put a little more. I do a little less pepper, but I do a little bit more garlic. So garlic, I don't know how you prefer to grate or mince your garlic. There are many ways of doing it, obviously. You know, some people like to use a tool like this, maybe. Some people like to use something like this where you actually grate it. I do the grating because I really enjoy that. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Or you might just want to chop it really fine. I'm not very good with knives. So I use the grater. So you're going to put that half teaspoon, or if you like a little bit more. And you're going to mix it. And you're going to see how pasty this becomes. It's really sort of pasty. And between the garlic and the sesame seeds, you can see that is sort of like a paste. Maybe I can change that so high. And I'll show you on here. Is this better? So you can see it's sort of like a paste, and it sort of sticks a little bit to the spoon. And that is why I choose to put the cukes in there instead of the other way. Okay, so are we good? You got that mixture for the dressing? So now if you look at the cucumbers and you go back to them, you will see that there's a little water ready to come out. So if I poured the water out, it actually gave me the bottom of this ramekin, thing with water. But like I said, because this is so pasty, it's okay if you don't want to drain too much. But so you're going to pour your cucumbers in there, and you're going to mix that salad. And the cukes will be kind of like sticking together, but you will be persistent and say, come on, cukes, get a little red on you. They're like, no, we just want to play together. I said, no, cukes, you can move around. And once, the thing is well distributed, I am dying to eat. I haven't had lunch yet, so I'm dying to have it. Oh my God, so good. I can eat that whole thing. So once it's really well distributed, your salad's ready. Like I said, in Korea, they call these banchans because they're accompaniments, for the main meal. And they have all kinds of banchans. They're delicious, and they're always there's some sweetness, some heat, and it's salty. It's this perfect blend of Asian food that I absolutely love it. JP, is it good? Amy, yeah? Oh, look at Amy's, yes. Good. It's tasty. Maddie, I'll bring you some tomorrow. So it worked out? Awesome. So just to finalize and make sure that you guys feel okay about the flan one particularly is, let it bake until you insert something in the middle and it's clear, right? It's coming out not runny. Let it sit there once you turn the oven off, and let it cool completely. you don't want it cold because that sugar may stick. And then when you do the trick of turning it around, it will be hard to come out. But I promise you that if you let it cool, the consistency is going to be just right. And the sugar is going to sort of stay in that bottom. But like I said to you, you're only using the sugar for the aesthetic, and it's just going to have this nice brown color, caramel color on top. Okay. Oh my gosh, JP is like, yeah. Look at me. I'm just the cucumbers. Yeah, the cucumbers are delicious.
Yeah, thank you. It's really good. And it's so simple. Why didn't I do this before, ever? This is so good. The cucumbers.
Oh, look at that,
Thank
Andy. That looks great too. So fun. And I hope that you sign up for the following ones, because we have some really great classes coming up. I always love what the farm puts together.
Yeah, thank you all for coming to this class, and thank you, Nidia, for leading it so effortlessly. We do have a couple more, I think 4 more at least classes coming up. The next one will be with Professor Pfannkuchen from the German department. She'll be teaching kind of the basics of baking bread. And I think she'll talk a little bit about sourdough too. She makes, I've tried her sourdough before. It's really, really good. So we have that one coming up. And then we'll also have, I think the one after that will be, that's on Facebook to sign up. And we have another one after that, which will be a class with Professor Pass from the Spanish department, who will be teaching how to make arepas. So that should be pretty fun. But yes, again, thank you all for showing up.